Wednesday, 25th of January 1995. British football's most enigmatic superstar snapped. United had bought Cantona from Leeds for a song, but the alchemy of Old Trafford transformed him. Cantona responded with pure gold.
Solskjaer. Cantona wanted it through there, and it was falling just behind him. Cantona! And it's Cantona!
To teammates, he was a natural leader. To the United faithful, a genius. To opposing fans, he was boastful, pretentious, and French. Cantona's strutting arrogance epitomized the United of the mid-90s. The them and us attitude which seemed to infect Alex Ferguson's team.
Without his ego, Eric Cantona wouldn't have been the man or the player he was. I think because he had a massive ego. I'm saying this in a very good way, because there's many players who are talented footballers, unfortunately haven't got the ego to go with it, and they get sort of swamped even by the stage in the arena of Manchester United, but not Eric. Eric felt he was as big, if not bigger, than Manchester United, and that's how he performed.
It was a damp, lackluster night at Selhurst Park, home of Crystal Palace, and two irresistible forces were about to collide. Cantona's pride and the resentment of opposing fans. Cantona leapt into an almighty controversy with such reckless force that it threatened his career and United's reputation.
I thought, that's just too far. You've got to get rid of him. You cannot countenance that kind of behaviour and the bad example it sets to, kids and so on.
If it had been me, if I had been in charge of the club, he would never have played for the club again.
Anybody who has anything to say about the Kung Fu kick, if they weren't at Selhurst Park that night, should shut the fuck up. From the moment they walked out onto the field at 7:25 that night, I was, what is this? What is this? The word is baying. These obnoxious Croydon wankers were baying with envy and anger and a real viciousness constantly whenever Eric touched the ball. Awful, awful, awful. And Kung Fu kick, he should take the machine gun out and bloody blown the guy away.
Manchester United's French star Eric Cantona was sent off in
Enfin, il faut savoir qu'Eric Cantona refait...
Around the world, the Kung Fu kick became the biggest story in sport and a public disgrace for United. Privately, in the Selhurst Park dressing room, Cantona felt the lash of Alex Ferguson's fury. But Ferguson hadn't seen the kick itself. It was 4 in the morning before he watched the video of the incident. Only then did Ferguson realize the depth of the hole they were in. Many believed that Cantona would be sacked, but the club stood by him. For once, the manager, the board, and the fans truly were united.
Ferguson needed him because he was his talisman, because he was his leader on the field and in the dressing room. The club needed him because he was their leader in the merchandise department and sold so many shirts and so on. Both sides needed him.
Man United being the club as they are and being a PLC company now, they wouldn't sack a £10 million asset, would they? Because they do love their dollar, don't they? They know it's known throughout the world that Man United is a giant fruit machine. It's no longer a football club, it's a fruit machine. They pull the lever and money comes out of it.
Tommy Docherty's love affair had been a sacking offence, but Cantona's Kung Fu kick was not. Football's moral order had changed. Cantona was banned from the game for 9 months and received 120 hours of community service teaching Manchester kids to play football. Demon or idol, Cantona's Kung Fu made him bigger. His trademark number 7 became as familiar in the supermarkets of Singapore as the back streets of Salford.
Of course, he added to the brand. He helped to sell the Manchester United vision, Manchester United mystique, Manchester United charisma. It was all part of Cantona.
Without him, United's season was dismal. When he returned, he led them to an FA Cup and Premiership double.
Two seasons we didn't win the Premiership, we didn't have Eric. And I quite liked not winning the Premiership in those seasons because it made the point of how valuable Eric was.
Cantona shocked the club by quitting in May 1997. In his autobiography, Alex Ferguson revealed that commercialization was a factor in Cantona's decision. It was a message from the pitch to the PLC.
The irony is that the business side of the club were anxious for Cantona to stay because he was such a potent image in promoting merchandise. But they promoted it with such rigor, he grew fed up of it. And obviously he was very well rewarded as a result of all the shirts they were selling off his back. But also I think he began to feel that that wasn't what football was about. That wasn't why he was in the game. He fell out of love with the game. The poetry wasn't there anymore for him.
The king, the king, the king, he's alive!